laying that out makes a lot of sense, Robert. Really good point. I think that he probably prefers his chances in the bullet better than if he's like, look, if I'm within a couple of games in bullet, maybe I have a chance. That would be kind of the match strategy you drew up at home.
Yeah, and we saw Magnus get it done, and now he's off camera, probably eating. Yeah, there he is.
It's a big spoonful of something. And speaking of something, apparently chat has suggested Robert Hess should also switch to a black shirt to match the team. Knowing what I know about Robert Hess, I don't think he's going to do that.
You mean because I care so much about the random asides that the chat wants to?
Hey, I already said it for you. I know Robert's not going to change. First of all, you look great in green. I've told you that. It's great for your skin complexion. Brings out your eyes. And plus that sweater looks super comfy on you.
Well, it also matches the chessboard and has many green squares. And what is happening in this game? Suddenly, black wins a pawn. I mean, white sacrificed it. The rook was under attack. D4 is loose, but B7 is also hanging. There could be some checks on A4 if black's not careful. Danny, this looks like some form of theory, and it looks like Magnus may be a little bit more familiar with it than Arjun.
Well, it's a great call out, too, because it's the first time Magnus has played into something with some theory. If you're just tuning in, everyone, we had 2 E4s from Magnus, both of them exchange variations of the Petrov, where Magnus was playing anything but theory, right? He was trying to get Arjun an interesting kind of technical off the beaten road pass, right, Robert? So a bit of a changing of the guard. Magnus goes for something he's clearly prepared better than Arjun. He's up almost a minute on the clock.
And this D4 pawn is hanging. Look at this. Black is actually up 3 pawns at the moment. White has 5. Black has all 8. And the engine is sky high saying that was a blunder. And Danny, I think it's because, well, black is just scattered on this board, not castled. What do you think? I mean, taking on B7 would be tempting, but is there something better than that with this knight walking to a pin?
I'm looking. I go back to, is it a subtle move similar to last game? Is there a weird bishop f4 and then rook d1? B5 is coming for black, though. And it is. It is just a subtle move. Yeah.
Yeah. Subtle, Danny. Usually not so subtle, honestly. But here you find bishop f4.
Usually anything but subtle.
But this is the move. It protects the knight. And I think we kind of have to dive in unless Arjun does us a favor and plays it so we can see what the consequences of b5 are. That looks like the move, trying to unpin yourself, trying to attack the white queen. But there also is a loose rook on a8 in several different ways. So I guess this is the line we're going down. This is wild stuff. But look at Arjun's time expenditure, Danny. It's clear he is just trying to figure this out on the fly.
Well, and it shows Magnus, again, still in preparation, most likely, as he tries to shovel and finish off his late lunch here. But let's analyze it if we can. I mean, this is a super complicated position, and the first time that Magnus has shown some prep. Okay, Arjun played queen c5, but we got to show what would have happened on b5 there. Yeah.
It just looks really, really nasty because you're hitting the queen. But I guess that here at this moment, it's not even taking on b5 with the rook. Probably just sliding your queen back. That rook is loose. If it moves to a7 or b8, knight c6 is a fork. Good day to you. And if you try to take this knight on e5, I'm guessing you can just take this rook on the corner and the problems continue. Rook d1 is coming. Oh, that wasn't it. Still good for white. But there's just too many loose pieces in black's position.
Yeah, even rook d1 first was probably just as good. That's why. But this is great. I mean... yeah, then the bishop is hanging. So, okay, fascinating stuff. Magnus goes away from avoiding theory into theory he knows better than his opponent, which is rare when talking about Arjun Erigaisi. And he has a big advantage here as white.
Look at that. He takes on b7. Arjun can't take back, otherwise he loses this knight and his king is mated immediately. So he goes bishop takes knight. And instead of capturing the rook or that bishop on e5, little bishop e3. Let's hit this queen. The rook is falling next. I mean, Danny, this is showcasing some world championship level preparation. And we know he's not world champion anymore. But when you prepare for those kind of matches and all the biggest events, you keep things up your sleeve to use for a later day.
Just a little game of tickle. The queen's running into trouble here. The rook will fall next. Speaking of next, remember, tomorrow we got Hikaru Nakamura versus Jan Nepomniachtchi. That's going to be wild. We're focused on the chess right now, as we should be with Robert Hess. But yeah, I mean, sorry, Robert. I just saw that graphic, and I had to shout out that I am excited for that one as well.
I mean, how could you not be? It's the number 2 classically rated player in the world, and Hikaru Nakamura taking on number 5 at the moment in Yana Pomshi. So today and tomorrow, 2 top 5 matchups. I personally am really stoked for that. I think just like this contest, it can go in either direction. Hikaru, of course, the favorite as he is in matches when he's not playing Magnus, but Yana Pomshi is, of course, a 2-time candidates winner and somebody who could beat Hikaru Nakamura tomorrow. Don't be surprised if that does happen. And well, C3 happened here. Danny, up in exchange is white. However, do you see some counterplay thanks to this pawn on c3, or do you trust Magnus to just end it before
I think we have
it
to
begins?
Magnus at this point. He's also up 2 minutes on the clock, and the C pawn might look pretty there, but it's also all alone. And at some point, it probably runs into either a rook or a queen, and with it, Magnus is just up a clear exchange, an exchange with the compensation. Even rook to c1, just simple, looks good to me. Yep, Magnus plays it. The c pawn will fall, and with it, Arjun likely going down 2 games in this match. And I like that he's taking his time. You called it out at the end of the last one, and you also said maybe it's too early to be thinking like that, because the psychological repercussions of doing that, Robert, as we've talked about for years, is you also then have this like emotional feeling where you're just playing bad positions and your opponent is just beating you over the head, right? So the trade-off is like, think about the match strategy. I want to take time off the clock, but no one likes getting abused on the chessboard. So at some point you're like, you got to throw it in.
Yeah, I mean, Arjun, he's trying to set up some kind of bishop a6 at the right moment, hitting the e2 pawn and the bishop on a8, which is down in the corner if you took the rook. But yeah, it's one of these things where it's deeply unpleasant to continue on in a hopelessly lost position, which I'm sure Arjun sees this game as. Look at the time. He has none of it. Look at the material. He's down. I mean, everything is going in Magnus's direction. So I would say from a match perspective, Arjun needs to do whatever allows him to clear his brain from these last couple games, but also what he feels like is best overall. And if that's going into the bullet, with maybe a 2-game deficit at most, he wants to get to the bullet sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and again, there's 18 minutes now, about 19 minutes total in the 5-minute portion. As you can see, that clock ticking down above Arjun Iragai's head. If somehow you are new to the Speed Chess Championship, the greatest show in the world of chess, that's how the format works. 75 minutes of 5-minute, then we move to 3-minute and ultimately bullet. Yeah, this is just an over. Sorry, I'm providing stakes and context of what we're doing here, Robert, because Magnus is dominating this one. I mean, you can take c7 here if you want. I'm not sure there's really an attack, and he does. I keep saying it casually, and he just keeps taking pieces.
Yeah, the one idea I see is pawn to f3, and he plays it if pawn takes. This rook is loose over here on f1, but this is the right recapture. Magnus is training as many pieces as possible, because now it's not just the extra rook for a knight that white has. He's also up 2 pawns, so you may get this rook back. Good for you. And I have to say, good for Arjun for finding funny moves like bishop d3. If pawn takes, this bishop drops, and okay, he wants an attack. There's no checkmate. It's not going to happen. But credit to Arjun for keeping the fight alive.
Yeah, that is a weird AF move. Weird as Fabi. How's Fabi doing after that loss? I saw he joined the interview. That was great.
Yeah, he was a really good sport. He actually was just messaging me and then goes, "Oh, I see that you're live." This was a while ago. So, hi, Fabi. I know you're watching. You always are. And here we see queen to b7, and this queen is watching the f3 square.
Huh? Whoa, that is a move and a half. He wants everything. He's a madman, as Magnus Carlsen called him. Arjun Iragaisi knows one speed. Checkmate.
This is cool. Like, it is posing problems. If it was Magnus under 10 seconds, we would say Magnus could misstep and lose this game. But Magnus has 2 minutes. He's done very well on the clock. But I just like the dynamism that we're seeing from Arjun. Yep. He is giving himself a chance even in positions that may seem hopeless.
Oh, Magnus finds a way to get the ladies off with tempo, and that's going to do it.